Welcome. The purpose of this video is to explain some of the rules and show examples from the reviewing perspective on the HSP Part F. Here you see Sister Nance's Q&A, and you see that she hasn't been able to get that through committee yet to post it, and she also hasn't yet been able to send any updates for the latest information that we've gotten on the publishers is the biggest thing. So let's just start out with what we do have. Some of the cards are in a foreign language. You can use Google Translate. If you just click on a new tab and go to, I just say French to English, and I put the title, put the word I want, and it pulls it up, or you can go in and put the whole thing in. This is a batch I've been holding because it's not going to be very fun for me. I didn't do well in French. I flunked one semester. But you can see from down here, they'll all be indexed. So those are some of the things. Some people love them. There's a few people in our group that speak a foreign language, and I wish we could just forward this to them. Now there are some that we do not index. The only thing on here is looks like the beginning of the first line and maybe the title, but it doesn't say where it is, so that would be no extractable data. This one looks very similar, but it has music, collection, ballads, and song sheets for the series folder or volume title. So some would say, well, that doesn't give very much information either. If you think back to all the genealogical situations that we've had, IDX, IBX, can't remember the words right now, there was a time that in genealogical resources they tried to streamline and not do duplicates. They found that they missed some people. That's the only place they were there. So we never know. This might only be in there as this one little card, and so for that reason we go ahead, and it's an easy card to create. And so there's on both of these, of course there's no entries on the first one, there's no entries on this one. You can tell you don't see any little scribbles, so you know that one's going to be no extractable data. This one's going to be no extractable data, but these have the stamp at the bottom and these have more information. So just go through and do the best you can. I should have started at the beginning for each of these. Apologize. So I try to take it easy when I'm doing this. Of course, we know I rearrange my fields. If you don't know how to do that, we can have another. And in the review, you can tell that I've made some changes on what people have had before. The most important thing is that everything on the card is represented somewhere, except if we say you don't. So you do this all the time, except when you don't. Here is the person's birth and date and death dates. We don't do that. And another word, all of these items were used for all of the projects. So there's a lot of fields that don't get used, and I reordered them. We used some of these all the time in other. Case number we used a lot before, box number we used a lot before, collection number we've used a lot before, but in this section we don't. But we've got to have them in the template, because for part of the project, for the card catalog that's for the Historical Society of Pennsylvania, they want to be consistent through the whole thing. And you know what we're trying to do is for them to allow us to have space in their building for the Historical Society of Pennsylvania to host a Family History Center or Discovery Center, however you call it these days. I thought Family History Centers were going away and Discovery Centers were coming. Just depends on if they have those resources. And I think they all have a lot of the same things. Layton, Lehigh, downtown Salt Lake, Seattle. I think there's quite a few others. If you Google that on Family Search, you can see where they are. All right, so here we have a card. It has what they've filed it under in the card catalog. So in this card catalog, alphabetically, we've got the T's. TTT, all through T's. But it's not consistent to the next. I mean, you can see what the next batch looks like. But they have, like, mumble-jumbled them to figure out. Sometimes the card doesn't come up, so you just use your scroll bar to move it around. So this first item may be something that is sure to go on the card and may not be. You just got to double check. Sometimes it gives information that's not anywhere else. So this does not have a title spelled out for us. So we've been instructed to take whoever's name is here, and I think the composer first, and then whoever's name is there. A creator goes first, and hopefully it's the composer. Because sometimes I'm like, well, it's not the composer, so I'm not putting the name there. Then I had to ask her again, okay, tell me again, what's the rule? Because I'm tweaking it in my brain. Okay, it does have brackets. So when you look at the card catalog, you are seeing what the librarian or the indexer, the scribe, saw on that piece. So she saw the last name, and she knew the first name was this, based on whatever she did it on. So these brackets mean this is not really on the piece that I'm looking at. So we keep those on this piece of paper. And we write, then we first and last name, and then the title. And this matches. And then I just continue through. They did put Italian air, which follows the rules pretty carefully here, that says you want the creator and the genre and whatever. I'm not real careful about the genre, because sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. Sometimes for a long time I didn't know air was a type of music piece. I still don't get it, but I don't need to. And then C in selected music, page 88, 106. That is a reference to reading it. This is not selected music as the collection, and 88 as the page. No, it's this page and number inside that to find more information on this. So maybe they have a photocopy or a handwritten, scribe-written representation, but somewhere on it says, the reason I have this piece of paper is because I got it from here. I got it out of this Ensign article, blah, blah, blah. All right, so that's pretty explanatory. Then we do these in the order that it says in the pull-down. But she has not specifically stated somewhere that you do the composer, the musician, and then the arrangers, which I kind of try to do, but I've never gotten her to say that out loud yet. But I did get her to say, make sure you do these in the order that they come up. Don't put the place, because it's easiest to do, first in this entry 2 of whatever. So he's the only person we know. It says his name here and again here. Big Basic Indexing Guide reminds us that if any place on the document it gives the full information, you write that full information out. Okay, no extractable data. And so to review, I've already gone through. And so I won't comment. I'll just go through really quickly, as I would if I were screening. And I already have carefully looked through each of these to see that each letter matches. Okay, so here we have one that the first person and I didn't agree. So you can easily see, what did they do? They put double quotes as the "twas" part. And why they put ending quotes, I don't know. Because it was on another card, probably. They did not put his periods. I didn't need to change that. I'm just kind of OCZ. They changed that to a number 2. No, we've been told in previous sections we want that Roman numeral if it said Roman numeral, number 2 if it said number 2. Philadelphia, and that's the only card because we put the publisher on the first one. And again, they went to double quotes for the whole thing instead of as it was completely. And then I try in this section to have number of pages, whatever you're thinking about from the publisher's point of view, the pages, who's in there, the piano notes, all that sort of stuff. I try to have just the title when we just have the title. So this has title, composer, author, publisher, first line. The title we know is just going to be there. sometimes there's information here that you wouldn't put in the title. I'm kind of lazy. I just put it all in there if they do. But I make sure that everything goes here besides this piano title, and to make sure that everything's on the card. So this is sort of my dumping ground, the description. So here I put composer, and they had it blank. Oh, they had the in. I moved that up so that I could have room for the other. They had the quotes and all that other. They were going to get marked off anyway for that, so I just did it in my style. This is one of the first ones I did, and I've been holding. Everybody's going to have their own way. As we're reviewing, what we do is make sure that there's no information missed. And so if there's information that was missed, then we want to add that in somewhere. But my basic thought is, see, they didn't know where arranger went. So this guy's not really the composer, strictly speaking. He arranged what someone else had composed. He's still composing, so that's the only slot we have for it. There's no period there. I didn't put it in. I try to be very disciplined that way, but I don't count, I don't change it if it's different. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and submit that one. And then I'm going to go to my next one here without going to the next one. Here you've got a diacritical mark. I don't know what they're called, but they had used the wrong ones. And it's really hard to see this little thing. So a lot of times I will get one and I'll copy it to my clipboard. I've thought about having a Word document and having them all in there so I didn't have to pull this up, but I haven't gone that extreme yet. So we'll start at the beginning and see if there's any information that I should tell you. I've only got 3 minutes left on this video, so I may have to hurry. So I may just put it up and let you figure out, why did I do it? What did I do? The NP, we've been told we don't need to put anywhere. Anonymous is not a person, so you don't put them down as being an author. We want real information. We want to know someone's name. These are exact. The L is what they used. We used the number 1. So, and they didn't have the composer on the card at all. And I think it's easiest just to say composer, blah, 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 because then you don't have to worry about the punctuations. We've been told not to put any punctuation. And so I would put the space in there. I won't change it. I didn't do as good as I thought I was going to do. I thought I was going to get through 4 batches. So I may hurry. I'll just bounce to the next one and see if there's something there that sometimes they group together in how they look. So again, I'm not going to study what they did and didn't do. But hopefully this will give you some starting points for understanding ways that I do it. Not to say that I'm perfect. And she has said repeatedly, you have the mantle of prayer, so pray about what you're doing. And my biggest thing is just make sure it's somewhere on the card. A lot of these have the date. I added the date into that description, but they've also got it. Okay, didn't she put in April? She did in every other card. 1863, and the month is April. And, how hard is it for the librarian at the final end to go through and make little tweaks? It's not that hard. We just want to give them as good a batch as we can do to make sure that they have a good solid foundation, because it is a big, they couldn't afford to pay us. We are more skilled than someone they would get for all the time and money that they would spend. And so I think that I just added more information, and most of the time Most of this was there already in the fields, but I, as I said, like to put that, make sure that's centered